Hello, everyone. Welcome to The Writing Cabin with Tarah Benner. I'm fantasy author Tarah Benner, and this is my cabin. We all need to escape into story from time to time, so come on in, sit down by the fire, pour yourself a nice hot cup of tea, and let's talk books. Now, before we get started today, I wanted to take a moment to thank my wonderful patrons. Patrons, your support not only funds the creation of new monthly stories, but it tells me that you enjoy my books so much that you want to support them and me directly. If you, dear listener, would like to join our Patreon family, you can do so at patreon.com/Tarah Benner Labs. I create a brand new story for my patrons every single month, and you can join me for 1 month, 2 months, forever. I'm happy to have you for any amount of time. And in that library, the Patreon exclusive library, you will find an alternate spicy epilogue to Warrior Witch from Gabriel's perspective, plus a ton of unpublished Witches of Mountain Shadow short stories. And if you kind of want to see what that's about, I've actually recorded one of the novellas that was exclusive to Patreon for a long time. It's called The Fae Hunt, and it is available on the podcast feed and my YouTube channel. Again, that's patreon.com/Tarah Benner Labs. All right, this week's featured book is Blood Ties. It's hard to catch a bloodthirsty killer if you don't know she's undead. Wesley Pierce just made detective, and he's at a serious disadvantage. He's been drawn into a string of unusual murders committed by a creature that doesn't exist. The victims are all handsome men at the top of their game, murdered by a woman with supernatural strength. His brother Gabriel knows something he doesn't, that Wesley's killer is a vampire. Gabriel Pierce is a hunter, a supernatural predator who slays witches and werewolves. Wesley has no idea what his brother does after dark, but Gabriel knows Wesley is no match for a vamp. He's determined to stake the killer before Wesley gets too close, but to do that, he'll have to enlist the help of a sexy rival hunter. When Gabriel provokes the killer to lure her out of hiding, Wesley becomes a pawn in her twisted game. Can Gabriel stake the killer vamp before it's too late? So Blood Ties is actually kind of the unofficial prequel to Aether Witch, which is a Mountain Shadow Book 1. It can also be read as a standalone. This is very much Gabriel's story, Wesley's story. It also introduces Morgan if you are farther along in the series and you know who Morgan is and you kind of want to see her in action kind of outside of the context of Mountain Shadow. Right now, Blood Ties is available only from my website if you want the ebook. It's the only place you can get it, but it's free from my website, tarahbenner.com. And the recording is available on my YouTube channel. So I will put a link to both of those down in the description. Okay, it's time for my life updates. I have been recording The Fae Hunt, and so I haven't done a regular podcast in a really long time. So let's see, what have I been up to? Actually, this morning is really nice because my husband took my little guy to gymnastics, and so I have the house to myself, which never happens, for 2 glorious hours. So my toddler is now almost 20 months old, so a little over a year and a half, and he is crazy. Let me tell you, this child is so active, so curious. He's learning so fast. Like his vocabulary has exploded over the last few weeks. Like he's repeating everything. He's getting so many words, and it's just like, it's really cute. Like whenever he says things, like he'll say, sorry, or he'll ask for water or juice. And it's so cute. He'll call the dogs, like if we're outside and he doesn't see the dogs, he'll clap his hands, because that's how we always get our dog Nelson to come. He'll clap his hands and he'll say, Nelson, hey. And so it's really sweet. It's a very fun stage to be a part of. But keeping him busy is by far my biggest job right now. It helps that it's kind of spring in Colorado. We had a couple days in the mid 70s and now it's like 45 today. But we call that spring. And it's just nice to be able to spend time outside and let him run around and not have to bundle up so much. And so, yeah, we have really long winters here, and so we live for summer. But that's pretty much all I have going on the life front. Now it's time for my little writing update. And as I mentioned, I have been away from the podcast because I have been recording episodes of The Fae Hunt every week for the last month. And so in case you missed any of those, go back and listen. The recording is now complete, and all of those episodes are available from the podcast feed and also on my YouTube channel. If you go to my page on YouTube and you find the playlist for the writing cabin, all of them are organized chronologically there. So pretty soon I will compile The Fae Hunt and make it available as a single audiobook in video form. I don't have a cover for that yet, which is kind of unusual. I've never gone straight to audio for something without creating an ebook. And I don't know that I will create an ebook because then I have to pay for an edit on it. And it's just kind of, I don't know. I kind of like having it just exclusive to YouTube, but that means I need a cover. The other thing is that Better Off Dead, Mountain Shadow Mysteries Book 1 is now officially with my editor, Jackie. And I think the last update I gave on this book, it didn't even have a title, and I was still writing the first draft. But since then, I have edited it. It's gone to my beta readers. They've given me their feedback. I've done kind of my final pass on it. And now it has a title and a beautiful cover that I'm so excited about. And it is now available for pre-order. And so if you go to Amazon, please do go pre-order that ebook. It really helps me out to see those pre-orders trickling in. It kind of helps Amazon want to sell it to people once it does come out. And if you do pre-order it, send me an email with either a screenshot or a photo of kind of your order, and you will be entered to win my Paranormal Cozy Mystery Book Lovers bundle. So in the bundle, I'm going to include a signed paperback copy of Better Off Dead. I'm also going to throw in a couple of my current favorite paranormal mysteries in paperback. And so that'll be a nice little fun treat for the winner. My email is tarahbenner@gmail.com. I do have a more official one that goes with my website, but guys, I'm not that fancy. I just use my Gmail most of the time. So tarahbenner@gmail.com. Send me proof of your pre-order and I will enter you into the giveaway. The book will be available to patrons on May 1st, and it will magically appear on your Kindle on May 15th if you pre-order. So I'm really, really excited about that. This morning, I actually just finished the draft of a bonus story that's going to go to patrons on May 1st. And this story goes along with book 1. It kind of answers like a little question that was never resolved, just because I think it's kind of fun to have like little small mysteries kind of lingering throughout the series. But this story kind of answers what happened with that question. And so that will also go out on May 1st. That is it for my writing update. Now it's time for what am I reading this week? And this week I am reading Hammered, which is the first book in Lindsay Buroker's Legacy of Magic series. This series is actually set in the same world as her Death Before Dragons series. And so that's fun because she kind of leaves like little Easter eggs if you've read the previous series, which I have. And honestly, that's kind of what I'm trying to achieve with the new Mountain Shadow spinoff is I want to make it like a completely new series. So if you've never read Witches, like you can just hop in and you won't feel as though you've missed anything. But if you have read Witches of Mountain Shadow, there's all kinds of fun Easter eggs and recurring characters and places that were mentioned in the first series. And so I just think as a reader, that's really fun. And it's also been fun as a writer to kind of seed those things in. And so, yeah. What else am I reading? I'm listening to the audiobook version of Bars and Boxcars by Trixie Silvertale. That is book 6 in her Mitzy Moon Mystery series, narrated by the wonderful Colleen Marlowe. I'm addicted to this series. I have really been on a Trixie Silvertale kick. I think she writes really fun, quirky protagonists. She definitely has her own brand of humor that I find hilarious. Like I'll be listening to the audiobook and just kind of start laughing out loud, and which is weird because I often listen to the audiobook before I go to bed, and so I'll be laying there in bed and I'll just start chuckling, and I think my husband thinks I'm probably like having a funny dream, but I'm just laughing at my audiobook. So yeah, I love that series. And if you want to get into it, I would highly recommend the audiobooks because Colleen Marlowe has a fantastic voice and she really adds a lot to the narrative, I believe, with her performance. She does great voices, and I really like her voice. She reminds me a lot of Lorelei King, who narrated the Mercy Thompson books, if you know that series by Patricia Briggs. So Colleen Marlowe, Trixie Silvertale, great combo. That's it for what I'm reading. Now, before we go, it's time to check the mailbox. And this week we have a comment on the YouTube channel about the Blood Ties audiobook from Morbid Gypsy. Morbid Gypsy writes, "You do a really good job of narrating your stories. I've heard other authors try and not do nearly so well. I'm glad you do it. I love it." Thank you so much for that wonderful comments, Morbid Gypsy. I really appreciate it. And I was honestly really nervous to release Blood Ties. That was my first kind of foray into audiobook narration. So I was nervous to post it, and people have responded really well. And so I'm going to continue to narrate a lot of my novellas and shorter books. But thank you. If you, dear listener, have any questions or comments that you would like for me to answer on the show, you can send them to tarahbenner@gmail.com, or you can post them on any of my social media channels. But to be honest, the only ones I check regularly are probably YouTube and my email. So that's the best way to get in touch with me. I don't always see things on Facebook and Instagram, but I do try to respond. So if I don't respond to you, it just means I haven't been on Facebook in a long time because I'm a mom. Sorry. Anyways, don't forget to pre-order Better Off Dead. I have a link to that in the description, and send me an email letting me know you pre-ordered it so you can be entered to win the giveaway. That's all I have for you this week, but feel free to stay in my cabin for as long as you like. We can drink all the coffee, you can crack open a good book, hopefully one of mine, and have a wonderful weekend.